enough. All right, let's move on and go ahead and take a look at our summer enrollees. We'll have 8 in total, 6 from the 2024 signee class, and 2 transfers. Let's go ahead and take a look at our 2024 signees. You've got running backs Dwight Phillips Jr. and Nate Frazier, offensive lineman Marcus Harrison, defensive lineman Nasir Johnson and Justin Green, and then Drew Miller, who you're the president of the Jalen Walker fan club. I've been president of the Drew Miller fan club because I love that he had a slide to himself on Jeff Santel's Before the Hedges show. But when I look at the 2024 signees, I think the one that I'm most excited about, and I think that DawgNation would feel the same way, is someone like Nate Frazier, coming from a program like Mater Dei, which is almost comparable to what UGA is in college football. You know that he's going to come prepared. You know that he's going to come ready. And he's already coming into a loaded running back room. And I think his pass-catching abilities are ultimately is what going to get him playing time.
Yeah, I think of the guys that have a chance to play right away from this 2024 signing class, it is him. You have some questions at the running back position. Obviously, Dajon Edwards, your least favorite player, and Kendall Milton are now off to the NFL. I think, we'll see what ends up happening with Trevor Etienne over the course of the season. Roderick Robinson, another California running back looking to step into a big role. But as you mentioned, Kaylee, I think his pass-catching ability is something that's going to get him on the field. You've heard Kirby Smart say time and time again, I think the farther away you are from the football in terms of the line of scrimmage, the easier it is for you to transition and come in and play right away. And so I think more than anything else, that is what is going to potentially allow Frazier to get in on the field, provide at least a spell a little bit for Trevor Etienne, and potentially be, in year one, a home run back before, over the course of his career, developing into a more well-rounded running back.
I don't want you to think that I'm jinxing this. I'm not going to get specific, but you can understand what I mean by this. But between him and Dwight Phillips Jr., considering how we saw the running back situation unfold in the beginning last year, it is comforting to know that there is some more depth to this room as opposed to last year.
Yeah, they were so banged up at the start of last season. You're actually moving Dylan Bell into the running back position, giving him key carries in that game against South Carolina. And so this season around, yes, it is some younger running backs that maybe don't have the same level of experience in terms of SEC play. But it is, I think, a better position room, certainly from a health standpoint. Obviously, we're still waiting to see how, as Branson Robinson comes back from his patella tendon injury. But you have Trevor Etienne, you have Roderick Robinson, and then you're bringing in these 2 other freshmen to help out. You feel better about the running back position, at least right now, knock on wood, going into the 2024 season than I think you necessarily did going into the 2023 season.
Another 2 players I'm interested in seeing are Nasir Johnson and Justin Green. Being defensive linemen, even though they're young, we know that Kirby likes to keep that defensive lineman rotation strong. So I do see eventually that they might get some playing time later down the road just to keep that depth.
Yeah, Kirby even mentioned Justin Green by name after the spring game as someone that can help out us with that defensive end position. It's not a glamorous position. I think that's a reason why Michael Williams has moved to the outside linebacker position to pick up more stats there. But look, as you point out, Kaylee, they want to employ a deep rotation there. Nasir Johnson, maybe sort of that true sort of 3 technique. You think what Warren Brinson has done for Georgia there in that position of late. Obviously Jalen Carter being the high-end option in terms of what the ceiling looks like there. But again, 2 more defensive linemen for a group that wasn't all that deep a season ago to add to this haul already that I have. You saw what Joseph Jonah-Ajayi was able to do in the spring. They also bring in transfer Xavier McLeod as well. It's a deeper room than they were a season ago. And I think while it remains to be seen if there's a true impact level defensive player on that defensive line, it's a deeper room, and simply because of that, I think Georgia's defensive line is going to be better than they were in 2023.
With all the noise that's been around Georgia football lately, I do think that people forget there are more people that come in the summer, and you look at that list of names, and it gives you more hope for the future. And we still have 2 more transfers to talk about in Benjamin Yurosek. And then, of course, everyone knows Jaden Rashada. You've got Benjamin Yurosek, the tight end from Stanford. So much experience, but I really think what he's going to bring to the table is maturity in a position group that needs that leadership. Of course, you've got someone like Oscar Delp, but I do think that bringing him in is really going to round out that tight end group.
Yeah, Benjamin Yurosek has 2 seasons of over 40-plus catches in his time in Stanford. Obviously, those coming in the 2022 and 2021 seasons. The rest of Georgia's tight ends combined have 31 career catches, so he at the very least brings some experience and some gameplay. Obviously, there's going to be a bit of a learning curve, him coming in from Stanford, having to hit the ground running and pick up the way that Georgia does things. I'm really interested in seeing how he competes alongside Lawson Lucky to sort of, I think, emerge as that number 2 tight end, that move tight end. And I'm not saying he's obviously going to be Brock Bowers, but a guy that can move around, split outside a little bit, because I think they know what Oscar Delp is and they know what Oscar Delp does well. And he's going to be the tight end in my mind this year that doesn't come off the field. I think with Yurosek, it's how creative is Mike Bobo willing to get with him. Obviously, did a lot of things with Stanford and was used in a variety of ways. And I'll be interested in seeing how quickly he comes in. Obviously he's an experienced guy. You would hope that he's able to pick things up quickly and help this team right away. As far as Jaden Rashada, look, if everything goes to plan for Georgia this year, the only time you maybe see him in any sort of interesting way is in that Florida game where you, if you're a Georgia fan, hope he throws a touchdown pass to maybe rub it in the wounds of Billy Napier in the Florida program.
Yeah, Jaden Rashada, in my mind, is more of a guy that we're going to see in the long term. Short term, I don't see the impact there. He's still going to have to compete for that second string, third string spot. But I am very curious to see how this lawsuit goes down and will continue to go down, because that will be one of the major storylines in the world's largest outdoor cocktail party, regardless of if he plays a snap or not.
Yeah, and, we all know how lawsuits and courts work. It would not be a surprise in the slightest if we're still here the week of November 2nd, Halloween, that Thursday, and there's still not any sort of resolution when it comes to this lawsuit with Jaden Rashada obviously suing Billy Napier, the Florida head coach, a prominent Florida booster, Hugh Hathcock. So it'll be interesting in seeing how that plays out and whether Jaden is ultimately able to have more on-field headlines than as it currently stands off-field headlines in his time at Georgia.
I hate that Eddie is out of reach right now, because every time we talk about this, I know Eddie wants to give a little clap, but